Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of great Muslim, all well, and shalom to all the brothers doing the work of Syrian truth. It's a brother number one from the GMS London camp. But this article in the Sun, talking about, these cyber attacks, and that's been kind of a front. You've seen a few, it's kind of been mentioned a few times, but it's a front of this whole, warfare that you got going on. Even though it's just between Russia and Ukraine, it's something that's more gonna hit globally and kind of show World War III is being engaged. It's taking place on a global scale. Before, you see, boots on the ground. You see people, shooting each other from ditches and dropping drone strikes and laying each other because. That cyber attacks now especially, that shit will just completely take that shit can take out the power grid, man. Said like the power grid in the US, if it was to get cyber attacked, it's done out. And you had the hostage situation. Well, no, it's not hostage. It's they basically were in the US with one of the oil providers, one of the fuel providers. No, it's not a hostage situation. It's the word I'm looking for, man. They basically had it where their shit got hacked, and to get access, they had to pay a fine. Like someone said, like, "Yo, send the cash, and then we'll give you access to your own PCs." And then that just fucked up the supply of fuel in and around that area, and even bleeding into like nearby states as well. Because why people going in and buying shitloads? Because they're like, oh damn, this place is done. We ain't getting no more shipments. If these men don't pay, then it's peak. And that's how these things are all linked up. Now it's like, if let me read into it. So it's on the Sun. It says, devastating breach. Russian cyber attack could send US back to the 19th century by targeting police, hospitals, and local government to stir up unrest. Russian cyber attacks could target police forces, hospitals, and local government. And that's not even the main focus, really. And they're mentioning that because why? If shit, for shit to really go sideways, it'll be basic amenities. So like water, filtration plants, gas and electric supply, what do you call it? The even different like internet or phone access. These things. If these things get penetrated, it's fucking peak. Sick. Yeah. So look. So read it again. It says Russian cyber attackers could target police force, hospitals, and local governments in a mass breach that could send the US back to the 19th century. Experts have warned it's feared that Moscow-backed cyber criminals could target institutions to cause chaos across the US. But yeah, any of those getting hit would be peak. But any form of like the banking system, because I was thinking as well, like looking into like the movie Fight Club, where they end the Fight Club, that whole film, like the end half, they're more or less going about essentially destroying all the financial records, which back then it would have been stored physically, but now it's something be on a cloud. So for a monetary impact you could have is like, oh, maybe hack into some of these systems, rating agencies or whatever, and then nuke that shit, and then you got more justification going into the Karagma system. And that's these cyber attacks. We'll have to wait and see for how far the span goes, because that shit in the modern times now is peak. So it says what? Cybersecurity expert Hugh Taylor told The Sun that Washington is in a heightened state amid fears of a potential attack. The security officers, and that's how you know this is a global scale already. Because why? The whole point of dealing with the Ukraine, because they're linking arm in arm with the EU and NATO, which then leaves Russia out in the cold, where they're basically just gonna have the knife pressed on their back at all times. So Putin's like, yo, can't even have that. That spirit is getting put on him. The hooks and the drawers. Says what? Security officials fear that Moscow could carry out a cyber attack as retaliation against Western sanctions, with Putin compared to a as retaliation against Western sanctions, which Putin compared to a declaration of war. Taylor speculated that hackers could target state police forces, local government, and hospitals, claiming they're poorly defended. Cybersecurity experts said, well, yeah, the local shit is going to be way less defended than like, a bank or a power station or something of that scale. But, we'll see. Cybersecurity experts said maybe they want to switch off emergency services, stir up political unrest. That'd be kind of peak. Granny's having a fucking heart attack, having a stroke, and then you can't even call 999. You're having to sit her in the back, lay her down in the back of the whip, and then skid down, to the local hospital. yeah, it will get peak. This hasn't happened yet, but you can see the potential for bad actors such as Russia to foment problems. He speculated that cyber criminals could resort to social engineering tactics, potentially leading to a confrontation in the streets as groups of society are pitched against each other. Well, even then, that's going to happen anyway. Because people, as far as the social engineering of hatred, people are already at each other's throats. People are already suplexing and choke slamming each other with, with pure hate. With pure hatred already, man. People are fucking on the edge of beyond, man. So yeah, that's going to be easy to accomplish. And geopolitical expert Brandon Weischer warned that depending on what institutions are targeted, a cyber attack could send the US hurtling back to the 19th century. He warned that Putin will escalate elsewhere if he feels he cannot achieve a success on the battlefield in Ukraine. And yeah, that's something that's not just going to stay with that conflict there. It's going to spread to other areas. Because why? He already knows there's going to come a point where these other powers are going to try and do their thing. It's not Ukraine is just the thing that needs to be taken action on immediately. Weishut said Russia is not going to abandon its mission in Ukraine so long as Putin is in charge. They'll fight to the death. Yeah. 1 Thessalonians 5:1, it says, but of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no time that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. And that's how these things are going to come, like a thief. Because that escalation, that point where it goes beyond, that's something people aren't looking for. People are thinking, oh, Putin's just gonna, he's gonna roll over. It's gonna come to an end. They're thinking, oh, it's not really gonna escalate. Even if it does, even if the Western powers get involved, they're not gonna take it to a point where it's, a nuclear situation. They're really looking at things like they're thinking of going back to peace. And that's a funny thing, because like with cyber attacks, that can take away that whole platform of just continuing to exist out the window. Because if you have those core systems going down, because like if the police aren't contactable, you might start getting some people getting fucking aggy, man, depending on how long that shit's going out for. Especially when you get out of like the city centers, the metropolitan areas, you might be in the sticks. Even in the metropolitan areas, in the fucking hood or some shit, that shit could get messy. So boy, that's the thing. It's with, when this thing escalates, when it starts picking up pace and intensity and heat, it's not just going to be one thing. It's going to be concerted effort of multiple factors, myriad factors, and that's what you're seeing. Because it's like now, what, interest rates are going up. You got a situation with a war, so petrol's going up. You got a variety of aspects happening at the same time. Meanwhile, you still have things in the background, like what? The people's housing in London. People are losing their rag. How much people are getting paid, the minimum wage not going up. These different things, people are feeling all kind of fucked. Said like in America, like I think what, 60% or something. It was the lion's share basically don't live paycheck to paycheck. So it's like when you're in that kind of state, as soon as it goes sideways, it's a wrap. You're done. You're underwater, man. Struggling for air. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of the light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others. Let us watch and be sober. Yeah, we're watching and being sober. We're observing that, hey, look, this thing is basically becoming that, that inciting incident you can see for, that World War III scenario. And main thing these elites looking to get in is what? That charagma, that mark. They're looking to get in that mark. That's what they desire. They want these people enslaved, and that's going to require what? Their minds, being further fractured. People are already done. People are toast. People are giving up all hope, man. They're just glazing their eyes over and trying to be delusional and live like everything's fine. But, hey, the prophets already know that time's done. That so-called peace, that so-called normal, that's out the window. That's been completely torched. The flamethrower has been taken to it. It's a light. It's gone. It's over. The dream is dead, man. Fuck that shit. They're now having to, they're going to be forced, dragged kicking and screaming into the raw shit, man. Into the shit the elites have been dreaming about, lusting for, man. Lusting for these elites, man. These the ones that are up in age, they're dropping dead. They're looking to get this shit fucking in whilst they're still on the earth, man. They're thinking about living forever, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.